Chire Chuda Darashani Rale Banapula Mala Ye Pardole Pairna Pita Patamara Shobe Nupura Runu Junu Charanana Me Pairna Pita Molo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Natata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Najata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Radha Krishna Katanu He Nirvana Maje Bansi Bajave Vissarupa ki Prabhu ji sahi Avata prakatahi Dariya me Bolo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Koi gavata hai Radha Krishna naam Koi gavata hai Hari Gunagan Mridanga tala madura rasala Bajata hai koi rangana mein Mridanga tala madura rasala Bajata hai koi rangana Bolo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Sundara Lala Satidu Lala Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me Bolo Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari Bo Sundralala Sachidulala Nachata Sri Hari Kirtan Me The very beautiful little boy of Sachi Devi, he's always dancing in Sri Hari Kirtan. Did we tell the other night why there was moon eclipse on Lord Chaitanya's appearance? No? Because we know that he's Sachi Dula, he's the son of Mother Sachi. And he appeared underneath the neem tree, so he was given the name Nimai. So, and his father's name was Jagannath Mishra. Mishra means Brahmin. So he became known as Nimai Pandit. Nimai Pandit. And he appeared over 500 years ago in Sri Mayapur Dham, underneath the neem tree. It was Falgun Purnima, the full moon of Falgun month. But 500 and I guess 37, 30, I forget where we are now, years ago, on that particular Falgun Purnima, there was moon eclipse. Now we heard that moon eclipse is very inauspicious, so why Mahaprabhu appeared on a moon eclipse? Because Nimai was preaching, even from his birth, the importance of chanting the holy name. Especially in Bengal, when there's moon eclipse, everyone goes to the bank of the Ganga, and they take bath, and they chant very loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare. So when the whole land was roaring with the holy name of Hari, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his appearance. Therefore there was moon eclipse on that night. But in one lecture, Prabhupada explained there's other reason why there was moon eclipse. Because we call the moon in Sanskrit, what do we call it? Chandra. So Lord Chaitanya's another name is Gaura Chandra, the golden moon. So Prabhupada explained that when such a beautiful golden moon of Lord Chaitanya was appearing, then that ordinary Chandra, he was embarrassed. He hid his face. He was embarrassed. He hid his face. Therefore, there was a moon eclipse. And we can find this confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's one nice verse. Akalanka Gaura Chandra Dila Darasana Sakalanka Chandra Ki Prayojana. Kalank means spotted. So Akalank, the spotless moon of Gaura Chandra is appearing. So that Sakalank, with spots, that spotted moon, what does he use with that spotted moon? Therefore he hid his face. It was moon eclipse on that night. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Adadanas Trinandan Tairidam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padam Bhujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Did I tell about my initiation day? No? Because that was just a few days before, on the 4th, today's ISKCON, 11th day. On the 4th day, the dark half of the month of Magh, then Srila Prabhupada, out of his unlimited mercy, he gave me initiation. I can't say I took initiation. I didn't know what I was doing. I was fooled. But Prabhupada gave me initiation. So I think I've explained, I joined in Boulder, Colorado. So when they heard that Prabhupada had come to Los Angeles, even though it hadn't been 6 months, they recommended me for initiation, so I went out to LA to get initiated. But so they decided to do it on a Sunday feast so that all the guests would see this big fire sacrifice, Vedic fire sacrifice and everything. So even my mother came, but there was about 10 of us to be initiated, and Prabhupada chanted on our beads in front of us. later he would just chant in his room, and they put all the beads on the microphone stand, and he'd just hand out the beads like that. But this is one of the last initiation ceremonies where Prabhupada did everything. Because the old LA temple, there was a big platform this high, and on the far right side, there was little tiny, big, beautiful throne with little tiny Radha Krishna. We didn't have the big Radha Krishna in those days. So we just had little Radha Krishna. And then a beautiful picture of Panchatattva dancing in kirtan. I still keep a photo of that on my hard drive. Mahaprabhu dancing in, all the Panchatattva dancing in kirtan. And then there was on top of that was a big shelf, and there was Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. And then on the far left side, there was the first Vyasa-san. Because just a few days ago, or almost a month ago, my dear godbrother Narayan left this world. And, that reminds me that we should all pray for Need Desai, one of our congregation members. He's very, very critical situation, I guess in Bombay, So we should all pray for him. Also, we just got the word that our Gopal Krishna Maharaj is under observation now in the cardiac, I finally found it, ICU is cardiac intensive care unit. So he's in Fortis Hospital in Bombay, so we can remember him. So, where was I? Prabhupada, previously we just put some milk crates upside down, put an old rug on top and a little cushion, and that was Prabhupada's Vyasa-san. So he decided, from seeing all the pictures, that why not make a nice throne? So he made this huge throne, all velvet and, gold painted wood and so many things, and umbrella over top of it, nice jari embroidery. And Prabhupada saw that, he began to cry. He said, I cannot sit in this. He said, only by the mercy of my spiritual master, remembering him, I can sit on this. So that big Vyasa-san was there. But Prabhupada, there was a Yajna Kund, and the 10 new people, we thought that was a big initiation. 10 people were getting initiated. And Prabhupada was sitting down with us in front of the Yajna Kund, and we were all sitting around like this. And Prabhupada, in front of our eyes, he chanted on our beads. And in those days, it's not that you went to the temple store and you bought some nice Tulsi beads from Loi Bazaar. We had to make our own beads. We go to a place called Tandy Leather Company, because all the hippies used to string wooden beads on their leather straps, those leather strings. So they sold all the wooden beads. So we bought these nice beads. We got some nylon thread. We tied it around the doorknob, stretched it all the way across the room. When you tie 108 knots between each bead, that string just disappears. First you're like that, and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, and then all of a sudden it just disappears. So the devotee who made me a devotee was Bhavananda. So he's a very flashy fellow, so he had to get very bright, light-colored wood beads, almost white. And I can still see them in Prabhupada's hands. He had them like this, and he was chanting. It looked like a string of pearls in Prabhupada's hands. And I watched very carefully. He chanted like this on the tips. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Then he rolled it around like this. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then he go the next, right on the tip. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, like that. To this day I chant like that. Otherwise sometimes we get in bad habits, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada chanted one round on my beads. Then he asked me, how many rounds? I said, very proudly, I said, 16. And he said, what are the 4 rules and regulations? And I said, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex life, and then my mind went blank. And then when my mind went blank, I completely froze. I couldn't think at all. And I was just there, And some brahmacharini behind me said, no drugs, and no intoxication. And Prabhupada smiled, he said, yes, no LSD. And then it was so cute, Prabhupada sat back and he laughed at his own joke, Prabhupada knew where I was at. So then he handed my beads, and I'd watched enough, I heard enough stories to know you don't dare reach with your left hand, So I took my hands with my right hand, and Prabhupada said, so your name is Deena Bandhu. Deena Bandhu means friend of the humble. And I guess I still had a funny look on my face from forgetting one of the regulative principles. So Prabhupada looked at me and he said, it is all right? Oh, yes, Prabhupada, it's all right. Oh, yes. So then Prabhupada, he did the fire sacrifice himself. He put all the colored rice flour and special designs on the rice, on the kund, and he did the fire sacrifice, he did everything. Then he sat there and gave a lecture. Most of it I forgot, but one little thing Prabhupada said, there's one short Bengali verse. Suchi hoy, muchi hoy, yadi Krishna tyaje. Muchi hoy, suchi hoy, yadi Krishna bhaje. He said there are 2 things. Suchi means Brahman. Clean, because Brahman means very clean. And the other is muchi. Muchi means the cobbler, dealer in skin. Prabhupada said it was such disgust, skin. He's the lowest down. So we adopted that as our ISKCON lingo. And muchi means, very dirty, The little kid has, prasadam all over his face and all of it. You're very muchi. So Prabhupada said, even if one is suchi, but yadi Krishna tyaje. The word tyag. So if somebody has given up Krishna consciousness, or he has no Krishna consciousness, muchi, he immediately becomes muchi, lowest down. But muchi hoy, suchi hoy, even if somebody is muchi, lowest down, yadi Krishna bhaje. If he is worshipping Krishna, or he has Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes suchi, the highest. So take advantage of this short Bengali verse and make your life perfect. And then Prabhupada got up on his Vyasasana to lead the kirtan. So we were just jumping up and down in ecstasy. We made sure we were right in front of the Vyasasana, just jumping up and down. Now also we didn't get, nice cotton dhotis from Loi Bazaar. We went to J.C. Penney's, or you would understand, Woolworths, and we bought 65% Dacron, 35% nylon, peach-colored cloth, and cut it to the size of a dhoti, and so Bhavananda, he's very flashy, so he had to get this very, very silky, shiny, peach-colored cloth, very chickeny, slippery, So I was jumping up and down, all of a sudden I felt the dhoti going, zoot, zoot. So I just grabbed with one hand, it was just... Then we were just floating in cloud 9. I don't even remember that feast. I was just totally in ecstasy. And we went to the Prasad Hall, and there was a little room in the old LA. This is La Cienega Temple, not the one where we have now at Watseka. And Prabhupada took Prasad, and we went to the Prasad Hall. We were taking Prasad, and somebody yelled that Prabhupada is leaving. So we all ran out, and there was a little cement path. On both sides there was lawn. So we were all kneeling on both sides of that path, just like little puppy dogs. So Prabhupada came down with his bead bag, and he was walking forward, so he'd tap somebody on this side, then he'd skip one and go to the other side, tap one, then he skipped one on that side and go to the other side and tap one. So he didn't tap everybody in the line, but every other one on both sides. So my godbrother, Jayatirtha Prabhu, who was initiated with me, Prabhupada missed him. So he immediately ran, he got in line again. Then second time Prabhupada missed him. He was so he was so upset. So then, because in old Lasigane temple there was no place for Prabhupada to stay, so we watched the car until it was out of sight. So that was in January of 1970. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we left off yesterday in Nidhuban. Also, I don't think we mentioned before, but I'll mention again, that's the place where Haridas Kirtaniya, not to be confused with Haridas Thakur, he was doing bhajan when the deity of Banki Bihari revealed himself to him. So we come out of Nidhuvan and we turn, and there's a bunch of sweet shops and restaurants, and there's a little tiny doorway. It turns right, there's always a big traffic jam there. And then we turn left and we come around. And just a little ways ahead, if you look inside on the wall, you see this beautiful big picture of Jagannath's face. And this is a temple of Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Because he was doing bhajan in a place called Suryakund, which is a little ways north of Radhakund. But we had one deity, we'll get to that later, but at that time he had no deity. So one bullock cart was going by with some bundles of rice straw. So he told his servant, Biharidas, go get a bundle of rice straw. So he went and he begged the farmer for a bundle of rice straw. The farmer gave him a bundle of rice straw. He brought it back and he told Biharidas, now you open it up. And Biharidas opened up the bundle of rice straw, and there was this beautiful deity of Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu, just like we had this beautiful painting here. 2 arms with bow and arrow, 2 arms with flute, and 2 arms with kamandalu and a sannyas danda. So this beautiful deity of Sadbhuj Mahaprabhu is there that belonged to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And sometimes you can go, because it's a little high up, you can go up and take darshan. Sometimes you just take darshan from down. Then there's, on the other side, there's a big wall, because that's Nidhuban. And we come down and down and down, and then we come to the entrance of Radha Raman temple. And this is a temple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who had been sent. He stayed for 4 months in his father's house, Venkata Bhatta, in Srirangam. The house is still there, his relatives are still there. There's one Murli Bhatta, who's a descendant of Venkata Bhatta, and he very, very friendly to ISKCON devotees. He said, no, when ISKCON devotees come, I feel like family has come. And he told me, he said, we're Sri Vaishnavas, but we're Gaudiya Sri Vaishnavas. And he told me, actually, Ranganath, he's Krishna. There's only 2 arms, and we can see the mark where Mother Yasoda tied him with the rope. See, on the altar we can go and see. We can see that mark where Mother Yasoda tied him with a rope. So for 4 months, Mahaprabhu stayed there and he instructed Gopal. Then he told Gopal that you go to Vrindavan. After your parents leave their bodies, you go to Vrindavan and join Rupa and Sanatan there. So he came to Vrindavan and he lived very austere place. You ever see the bhajan kutirs of Gopal Bhatt? Very austere places he stayed. And eventually he was staying just near the bank of the Jamuna, underneath a tree. And sometimes Mahaprabhu would send for Sanatana Goswami, sometimes for Rupa Goswami to come to Puri. And he wrote a letter, he said, "You never invite me." And Mahaprabhu said, "No, you stay in Vrindavan." And, but he sent him a piece of his kopin and a piece of his chadar. And he said, and a little wooden sitting place. He said, "You worship these things as non-different from me." So after Mahaprabhu left this world, then he was so distressed. He couldn't stay in Vrindavan. He just looked like an angry tiger with his mouth wide open. He just, as much as we all want to go, he would say, "How can I stay in this place Mahaprabhu has left?" So he decided to go to the Gandaki River in Nepal. And on the way, he stayed at the house of one just near Saharanpur. He stayed at the house, I believe his name was Mahesh Pandit, or Mahesh Sharma. And that fellow had no children, so he blessed him that you will definitely get child. He said, "If I get children, the first son I will send to serve you." So then he went up to the Himalayas. He came to the Gandaki River, and Gopal put his lota in the water and to take bath, and he just scooped water from the top. But somehow or other, when he lifted his lota, he saw there was all these shalagrams inside. And he said, "What is this?" He dumped them back in the water. Then he scooped another scoop of water. Again, the shalagrams were there. He dumped them back in. Then third time, and there was 12 shalagrams in his lota. And he thought, "This is third time, this must be something, you know." So he kept those shilas, and he took them back to Vrindavan with him. And on the way, again stopped by Mahesh Sharma's house, and then he came to Vrindavan. So he began, underneath the tree, he began to worship these shalagrams, not far from the Jamuna. So one day it was Nrsimha Chaturdasi, and one sage, one businessman was coming in and giving nice dresses and crowns and cloth and jewelry and so many things for all the Goswamis, deities. He said, "But I just have this shalagram. I don't need your dresses or jewelry or anything, you know." And he felt very bad. So he read that portion of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam about what we're in right now. Somehow everybody else in this country is on Canto 3, but I'm very happy now we're in Prahlad Maharaj in Canto 7. Even New Zealand, everyone's in Canto 3 somehow or another. So he read that portion about Nrsimhadev appearing for Prahlad Maharaj, and he prayed to the Lord that somehow you appeared from a stone pillar to please your devotee. Somehow you please have mercy on me. So he went to sleep, and next morning, on the Purnima morning, he went down to Jamuna, took his bath. He came back and he opened up the little bag of shalagrams that he had hanging in the tree, and there was this beautiful deity of Radharaman. And he was exquisitely beautiful. You could see that he had the kati stall from the waist down the lotus feet. He was Madan Mohan. The chest was Gopinath, and the Mukha Chandra, moon-like face, was Govindadev. And he called all the other Goswamis. They all came. They marveled at the beauty of this deity, a self-manifest deity from the Damodar Shila. And so they had a big Abhishek ceremony, and he established a small little temple there. Now if you're ever fortunate enough to get invited for prasad, we take prasad in the old temple. That's all the a dining hall behind the temple that's there now. And then somebody built this nice, beautiful temple. Now that's getting too small also. So sometimes, some of the Goswamis keep making suggestions you knock out the back wall because there's empty space back there they can extend. But somehow they're not coming to agreement on it. But anyways, it's becoming too small. So this is a beautiful deity of Radharaman. And if you want a very nice Braj experience, every night there's one Goswami named Dinesh Goswami. And when he was a boy, he had typhoid, malaria, all these things all at once. And the doctors were giving him so much medicine and trying to save him. Then Radharaman came in his dream, and to throw away all this medicine, you just take my charnamrit and you'll be cured. So he threw away all his medicine, and he just took Radharaman's charnamrit, and he was cured. So then he vowed that every night he will put Radharamanji to rest, playing ancient Kahur melodies on different flutes. So after the Shayan Artik, if you're ever there late at night and stay for the Shayan Artik, after the Shayan Artik, then he comes, sometimes a little flute, sometimes a bigger flute, and he plays these ancient Kahur melodies and just transports you out of this world. I remember one time we went there and we recorded, and then we were going back down the, then it was called the Raman Reti Road, and there was hardly any buildings or anything. It was just all neem trees lining the road, and there was no lights, and it was dark. And the people in front of me had the recording, and they were playing the recording, and this sweet flute melody was drifting through the air. Anyway, it's a very nice experience if you go there. Then from Radharaman temple, we come out, and if you turn, before you get to the stairway that goes out, but before that you turn to the right, then you can come to the Prakatya stall, the place where Radharaman appeared. That tree is still there, and they have a little monument there marking that spot. And then behind that is the Samadhi Mandir of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And when Gopal Bhatta was very old, actually one time he was, not when he was old, but he was every day going to Jamunda to take his bath. He came back one time and he saw this boy was sitting there outside his little temple. So he asked, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm, my name is Gopinath, and I'm the son of Mahesh Sharma in Saharanpur. And my father has sent me here to serve you." So then he learned all the service of Radharaman from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And when Gopal Bhatta became very old, then he said, "You get yourself married, and all your descendants will take care of my deity." He said, "Look, I have never gotten married. I don't want to get involved in this. But my brother, he's married. I will bring him." So Gopal said, "You bring him." So then Damodar Goswami came, and he initiated him, and all his descendants. At first he had 3 sons. At first only the eldest one that line could worship the deity, but then they reached some accord somewhere along the line that all the 3 lines, they each get 6 months. So I can't remember how many, every so many years, then you get your turn. And then according to how many people it's been divided into. But there's one line where there's only been one boy in that family. So he gets the whole 6 months. Otherwise everybody else divides it up between everybody, like that. And whenever they bring out, sometimes on the Vijay Dasami day, they have a big, tall silver elephant, and Radharaman rides on that silver elephant. So all the thing is kept, but all the 3 lines they have 3 different keys to open, all the jewelry and things like that is kept with 3 keys. So everybody has to, open the thing, all 3 of them, and they all have to sign it out. They have to sign it in like that. So this is Radharaman temple. Then there's the Samadhi Mandir of Gopal Bhatta, and if you know where to look, Damodar Goswami's Samadhi is there, and Gopinath Goswami Samadhi is there. So many different Samadhis. Then we come out a little side door, and we go down the ways a little, And just a little ways on the left side, if you know where to go, if you ask anybody, you go way inside and there's another beautiful sadbhuj. Somehow it's connected with Radharaman temple. Some Radharaman Goswamis are worshipping him. Very beautiful sadbhuj deity is there. And you come out and you go down a little ways and you turn, there's a little small little doorway. You go in that doorway and this is the temple of Radha Gokulanand. And you come inside and he has a system set up, with little screen doors and everything so the monkeys don't come. And then you go inside, a small little temple there. And many, many deities are there. We have, actually, the original deity was Brada Binod of Lokanath Goswami, because this is the place Lokanath Goswami was doing his bhajan. And then there was Biswanath Chakravarti Thakur, his samadhi is also there. So his deity is Gokulan. You see a little small deity like this, silver, that's Gokulanan. Then there's Radha Binod, and then there's a deity of Baladev Vijayabhushan. What is that? Vijay Govinda. He's Vijay Govinda because in Jaipur, because we know that Govinda Dev went off to Jaipur, and so then most of Jaipur is controlled by the Ramanandis. So they were objecting that these people have no sampradaya, modified sampradaya, and they have no commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Because Mahaprabhu said Bhagavatam is a commentary, so he never wrote any. So then, Biswanath Chakravarti, he was too old, so he told Baladev, you go. So Baladev Vijayabhushan went there and he prayed to Govinda Dev. Govinda said, don't worry. And he dictated this Govinda Bhasha. So his deity became Vijay Govinda. And then there's a deity of Mahaprabhu, of Narottam Das Thakur. And when you come outside, there's a big courtyard. It used to be completely open, and we just sit in the hot sun. But now they've covered it all up very nicely, and you see there's Biswanath Chakravarti Samadhi and maybe and Narottam Das Thakur, probably a Puspa Samadhi, and the biggest one there is Lokanath Goswami's Samadhi Mandir, and so many little Samadhi Mandirs are all in this one little courtyard, very auspicious place. And if we come out, and instead of going back, which is where we usually go, if you turn right and you go down, you go off to the right and around the corner, and then there's another corner just before that corner turns. There's a little temple there. That is Radha Bamsi Gopal. That is where Prabhupada stayed before Radha Damodar. And very beautiful deity there. They're in Nimbarka Sampradaya, so he's got that particular type of tilak with the black bindi. And he's very, very beautiful. And all nice plants in the court. It's a very nice atmosphere there. And now somebody else is renting those rooms, so they get disturbed. Devotees always going up and knocking on the door. And so you don't go upstairs, just see the rooms on the first floor. That's where Prabhupada stayed. And very beautiful deity is there. Next door, there's a nice archway with two fish jumping like this towards each other, all carved out of sandstone. And this is a Gadadhar Pandit's Dant Samadhi. Somehow they have, somewhere they got a tooth of Gadadhar Pandit and they kept it, so there's Dant Samadhi there. So anyway, then we come all the way back past Gokulanand, and we pass Radharaman and go around to the left, and we come to Gopinath. There's a big doorway, and we go way inside. It's all built up now, and you have turned down this little lane, and you come to, it opens under this huge, beautiful temple. With big steps, you have to go way up, and then there's Radha Gopinath, who was found by Madhu Pandit Goswami. He was doing his bhajan near Mamsivat. It was all jungle at that time, so lost in the jungle, he found this beautiful deity of Gopinath. So he made a beautiful temple for him, and used to be was one old Magosai who lived there, who just sat at Gopinath's feet with just a voice just like a kokila, singing little songs for Gopinathji. And she was so sweet. Now she's gone back to Golok. And nice, their son is nice, Gopinath Goswami. He's very progressive, and he very helpful and very kind to us. And there's a very beautiful temple there, great big temple. There's a nice painting on the wall done by some devotees from Serbia. Somehow they made these beautiful paintings. One painting of Krishna dancing with all the gopis in a rasa dance. And they're all holding hands like this. So sometimes we like to get into the picture, we cover up one of the gopis and hold on to Krishna's hand and take the snap. So then we come all the way back out of Gopinath temple and turn left. Actually, we don't turn left, we'll go straight this time. We go straight, there's a little lane there, and you go straight down, almost at the end of that lane, last house is Sonar Garanga. Beyond Sonar Garanga is the only movie house that used to be in Vrindavan talkies. Because in old days, talking movies was a new thing, so they were called talkies. So this is, now it's all abandoned, but this is Vrindavan talkies. So just before Vrindavan talkies, there's a little doorway, you go inside, and there's Sonar Gauranga. This deity was somehow brought from Bengal by Jagannath Das Babaji, and he was worshipping him there in Suryakund. And even today, Suryakund is very far off, not very developed village, just nice, small little place, getting bigger now. But those days it was a distant village. And he had these beautiful deities of Gaur-Nitai, and everybody, they were so beautiful, they were brass, but they were so beautiful color that the word went out that they were gold. So he was known as Sonar Gauranga, the golden Gauranga. So naturally, if there's some gold, then Braj is filled with so many dacoits even today. And so some dacoits came and they tried to steal Gaur-Nitai, but they only got up to the doorway of the threshold of the doorway, and Gauranga was so heavy, the thief dropped him. Bam! And he hit the wooden threshold and made such a big noise, they all just, let go of the deities and ran for their lives, So then Jagannath Das Babaji says, it's not good to keep them here in this secluded place. So he sent them to some family in Vrindavan to take care of them. They're still taking care of that deity to this day. And it's a very sweet little place, and there's beautiful deities very shiny deities of Gaur-Nitai are there, Sonar Gauranga. And they have some carving there that they claim this is Jagannath Das Babaji. Somebody's there with just a kopin and a sannyas danda, and they claim it's Jagannath Das Babaji, who knows. It's a very sweet little place. Then if we pick our way around Vrindavan talkies and come back out to the main bazaar, then almost directly in front of us is Who was that? Oh, Bilva Mangala Thakur's Samadhi Mandir. And it's not that well-known place. You have to ask around, but just almost you come out that little lane, then you'll come almost right in front of it. And so Bilva Mangala Thakur, he wrote this wonderful book, Krishna Karnamrita. And Prabhupada said, if you want to understand Krishna consciousness, you must read this book. Because we can, Krishna Karnamrita, it was the nectar for the ear for Krishna. And of course our Prabodhananda Saraswati, he's written the answer, Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhi. That is Krishna, that's for Krishna, this is for Radha. And beautiful deities. What is this deity's name? I can't remember. Maybe Radha Madhav. There's some small little deities there, and just as you come in, the Samadhi Mandir of Bilva Mangala Thakur. And I haven't been able to understand. One purport, Prabhupada said he lived 700 years in the vicinity of Braj, and I've always understood that that was some misprint, and it was he lived 700 years ago. I don't know. I never found any evidence that he lived for 700 years. But anyway, his samadhi is there, because we know Bilva Mangala Thakur. He was originally from South India, and he was, despite being in a very nice family, he was attached to this prostitute named Chintamani. And he was so attached to her, even on his father died and they did all the last rites, and as soon as it was over, he just ran to Chintamani's house. She was so shocked. And it was dark, rainy night, the bridge was washed out, somehow he grabbed, he thought it was a log, he got to the other side, and then he found it was a dead body, He got to the other side riding with a dead body. He got to Chintamani's house, the door was locked, but he saw this big rope, so he climbed that rope. It was actually a snake. And it was just pouring rain. And finally he got to Chintamani's door. And she came to the door and she was shocked. And such a night, on such a day, he's come here to see me. He said, if you had this much love for Krishna, your life would be perfect. This is just a bag of bones and skin and blood, and you're so much attached. But if you had that same attachment for Krishna, then your life would be perfect. Then he realized that from his previous life, his guru was talking to him through Chintamani. So then he realized his mistake. He left everything and just headed to Vrindavan. On his way to Vrindavan, he saw this beautiful lady, and he became attracted, and he followed her home. So she told her husband, I don't know what this guy wants, he's following me. And husband came out, he said, you appear to be a respectable Brahmin. And he said, no, I want to spend the night with your wife. He was a little shocked, but he was a lower caste, so he thought, anyway, it's a Brahmin, he's a very respectable Brahmin. So he went to the man's wife's room, and he got there, he remembered Chintamani's instructions, and he said, Mother, do you have some hairpins? So she pulled the hairpin out of her hair, and he took those hairpins and said, these eyes, these are my enemies. Pew! He pierced his eyes out. So even though he was blind, somehow he made it to Vrindavan. And he got to Vrindavan, he was doing his bhajan. Every day he was writing beautiful songs. You read Krishna Karnamrita, it's so beautiful. You can really see it's a nectar for Krishna's ear. This little cowherd boy would come and give him milk and sit and tell him, Baba, sing some songs about Krishna. And he could never see that actually it was Krishna himself who was coming and bringing the milk. Then one day, somehow he realized that it was Krishna, and he grabbed his hand, and somehow Krishna slipped out of his hand. He said, he wrote, he said, you're slipping out of my hand, but you will never slip out of my heart. So this is the samadhi of Bilva Mangala Thakur. So then we come back out and come down the street a little more, and there's a most astounding temple of, everyone calls it Mahaprabhu Mandir. Actual name is Amiya Nimai. Amiya means what? This is Bengali for Amrit. Huh? Amiya Nimai, Nectar Nimai. He's very tall deity. He was carved out of one piece of one whole neem tree. Huh? He's very tall, straight, and very, very beautiful deity of Mahaprabhu is there. And originally some family were disciples from Radharaman temple. They had this deity, and then there's a whole long story, I can't remember now. Somehow or other he ended up coming to Vrindavan, but it's a big deal. They had no place to stay. But when you come to Radharaman temple, you see there's a big Ras Mandap, the big raised platform, and there's a little building. So they were keeping him in that little building for a while. And then Radharaman temple had, because that was old days, they had a stable. So there was building there that gradually wasn't becoming used. In other words, now everybody nobody has horses anymore, they have cars. So they converted that into some sort of a building, and they thought, why don't we move the deity there? So they made a nice little temple, and you'll see it's sort of funny, shaped like, it's not exactly shaped like a temple, but somehow now they made a nice temple there, and this deity is staying there and being worshipped there. That is Amiya Nimai Mandir. And just above the deity is very wonderful painting of Mahaprabhu taking sannyas in Katwa. And you see Mahaprabhu is there with his long curly black locks, and everybody's just in such catharsis, they're all crying, and the barber, he's holding his blade, but he can't touch Mahaprabhu's Nimai's hair. He said, no. Everyone's crying. It's such incredible pictures of finally Mahaprabhu took his hand and chopped his hair, so then he had to shave up Mahaprabhu. He threw his blade into the Ganga, and he became a mittaiwal after that, sweetwal. Not going to do this anymore. So that beautiful painting is there. And there's nice painting, very old painting of Mahaprabhu in Gambhira Mandir. Yeah. So then we come out of Mahaprabhu Mandir, and then almost just next door, there's the widow ashram, Bhagavat Bhajan ashram. Because all these widows, their only desire is to go to Vrindavan. They come to Vrindavan. There's hardly any facility for them to stay there, but somehow this Bhajan ashram, they take women and they give them shelter, and they give them some rice and a piece of some cloth every once in a while, and they sit there and do kirtan all day long. Because they just refuse. They could go home and have their children take care of them, but they want to leave Vrindavan for anything. They just stay there just doing bhajan. Just like I remember there's one at the end of Loy Bazaar, there's one, what is that called? Ganga Prasad. So I took Prasad in their house, and they had one little Bengali lady there, and they were telling me how much they paid her, and I said, only that much? I said, we can't give her more. She just said, if you give me more, then I have to bother my mind. What am I going to do with this money? I want to think of Krishna and leave my body. And says, we can't give her any more. If we give her more, then I'll just start bothering my mind. What am I going to do with all this money? Forget it. Just do bhajan of Krishna and go back to Golok. So this bhajan ashram is there. And then when you go past the bhajan ashram, and you come out to a big wide road, and And you go down a little ways, and suddenly you look to the right, and you see this huge red sandstone temple that looks, the proportions are wrong. It looks really squat, because we'll tell the story later. It was dismantled, but it's big, huge red sandstone temple. Instead of coming out to the big main road, if you go through the small road, then you pass a little place, if you know where it is. There's a little doorway there, and there's the place where the Sakshi Gopal deity used to be. Hardly anybody knows this. This is a secret place. You just have to know where it is. You have to go with someone. There's just a little wooden doorway, and you can poke your nose and see. And there's just so many land. All the relatives and descendants have so many land disputes. They never developed into anything. But that's where the Sakshi Gopal temple was. That he walked with. Who is it? Anyway, with this young boy all the way back to Andhra Pradesh, somewhere, maybe Visakhapatnam or Vijayanagar, yeah. So he stayed there. Then the king of Orissa conquered that Vijayanagar, and he said, the only thing I want is this deity, So he took Sakshi Gopal to Puri. And he was in Puri temple, but he complained one night to the king that this guy with the big eyes, he's always eating my prasad. He's always eating my bhoga. You give me my own temple. I can't stay here. I'm starving. This guy with the big eyes, he eats all of my bhoga. So just outside of Puri, they have this Sakshi Gopal temple. Somehow the Pandits, they're nefarious for even all the bus tours have taken Sakshi Gopal off their tour list. The people are so... I had some Pandit friends from Vrindavan, they went there, and the one guy had a big beard and everything, and they told me he's writing a book about all the temples of Orissa. He's so-and-so Babaji, and so they treated them very nicely. And I've been there, we couldn't take darshan because they, really, Puri... whole of Orissa is like that. Nobody, except for Tota Gopinath, but before Brahmuna, Kirshor Gopinath. They're very happy to see the Western Vaishnavas. But anyway, that's true. Tota Gopinath is also very nice. So they just, they were just making fun of us, and you can't come in. And we had this big jump up and down ecstatic kirtan outside the door, and they're calling us, you are Christians, We're jumping up and down in kirtan. How are we Christians, But anyway, the priests, they were very favorable to us. They turned out, they don't have any electric lights, but they put more and more candles. So from very far distance, we got darshan of Sakshi Gopal. The priest came out and said, what can we do? These guys run the place, we can't do anything. And we will let you in, but they don't let us. So that was long time ago. So anyway, that's the place where Sakshi Gopal had his... and the old Brahmin told the young, I'm very satisfied, and when I come back, I will give you my daughter in marriage. He said, you can't do that. You're everybody, I'm just a poor Brahmin, they'll never accept. He said, no, I've given my word. Then you speak in front of the deity. Because nobody will ever tell a lie before the deity. He said, I give my vow that when we return, I will give my daughter to you in marriage. And as soon as he got back to Vijayanagar, then everybody, his wife said, I'm going to kill myself if you give my daughter to this low-class Brahmin. He's very poor. What is this? And everyone got all upset. So then so that boy came, he said, what about your promise? He said, and then his son jumped in before he could answer. He said, my father doesn't remember any promise. He's very old, he doesn't remember saying such a thing. You're just making up stories to get his wealth. And he said, but he has witnessed in front of Gopinath. So the son said, all right, if Gopinath will come here and give testimony, then I will give my sister to you. So, Gopal what? Gopal. So he's witnessed in front of Gopal. So if Gopal will come, then I will give my sister. So he went back to Vrindavan, all the way back, and he said, this Brahmin has given his word, otherwise, this is very religious if he break his word, otherwise, I'm not attached, but he has given his word, he's given his word before you, so you have to come and testify. And Lord said, how can I go? I'm a deity. He said, look, if a deity can talk, a deity can walk. So Lord was defeated. He said, but you can't look back. You will know that I'm there, you'll hear the tinkling of my ankle bells, and wherever I stop, then I will stay there, and you can get so many kilos of rice and you cook it and you offer to me, then you can see me. And then the next morning you start walking, I will come behind, you don't look back, but you'll know that I'm there by the tinkling. So he got almost all the way to the outskirts of Vijayanagar, and he didn't hear the tinkling. And he got worried, and he turned around, the deity turned into a deity and stood there. So then he ran into the village, said, Gopal has come, and everyone ran out of the village, and they saw this beautiful, because this is a huge deity, there's no way he could carry him. Gopal had walked there. And when they saw that, even the man's wife was in tears, and everyone was very happy, and he gave his daughter to this poor Brahmin in marriage. So that deity, that place is there, Sakshi Gopal. After Sakshi Gopal, we go down, and you see that huge temple. It's on an incline. You go up that incline. There's lots of monkeys there. So you have to be careful. And this huge red sandstone temple was there that was built by Raja Man Singh, who was the father of Jai Singh, who built Jaipur. Because he was a disciple of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So he asked to do some seva, and he said, because at that place, if you go behind, there's a big platform and a chhatri over it. You can see this it's an incline to go up, so it's a hill, so that's called Gomati Tila. Because Rupa Goswami, he was trying to find this deity of Govindadev. And Mahaprabhu had asked him. So one day, and he was bathing in the Jamuna, and some little cowherd boy came and said, at that Gomati Tila, every day a cow comes and there's a hole in the ground, and she pours milk into that hole. And so he asked some questions about where the Gomati Tila was, and the boy told him. And then he, got dressed, and he turned around, and that boy had disappeared. So then he found out Gomati Tila, and he saw this hole in the ground, and he stayed there and waited. And then in the morning, this cow came, and she began pouring milk into the hole in the ground. So then he called all the villagers, and they came with their digging instruments, and very carefully dug and dug and dug, and they found Govindadev, this beautiful deity of Govindadev. And so then Rajaman Singh, he built this huge temple. It used to be 7 stories high, that's why it looks funny. And there was a big lamp on top. So unfortunately that lamp could be seen from Agra. And Aurangzeb, he thought that was a star on the horizon. They told him that's a lamp on a Hindu temple. So he came there to knock it down. There's many different stories what happened. One story, because after you pass the Sakshi Gopal place, all of a sudden there's a great big Hanuman temple called Singapore Hanuman. Almost like Singapore, but Singapore Hanuman. So some stories say that Aurangzeb's army came to smash the temple, and Hanuman roared. That's why it's called Singapore. Somehow it means roar. He roared, and the army ran away. Others say that some hornets, came and descended upon the army and just began stinging them. So they say somehow the the devotees themselves took the temple, made the temple small, so that's why it looks funny. In the old days, we knew a little secret way there was a doorway that, it was just, if you pushed it, it just opened, because 2 doors are like that, and you pushed a little, and we could go around and all the way up and go on the roof and see the whole Vrindavan, and you can see how it's on top, you can see it looked like it was taller and everything, and there's a big dome there. Later they made it a little stronger, somehow we always got through. Now it's completely locked up with iron doors and everything, and you have to carry a stick because there was monkeys in the pathway, and but it was a very nice view from up top. You can see Jamuna and all of Vrindavan. So nice in the old days. So, and they have another deity of Govindadev there, and it's an incredible temple because it's very unique architecture, because it's practically in the shape, it's cross-shaped, which is not part of Indian architecture at all. It all has, everything else about it is completely Indian architecture, except this cross shape, and this huge dome is there. And we have no idea how they built this thing. They claim it's made from one piece of stone. How they got it up there without Larsen and Toubro, and we have no idea. They had some technology that we don't know. We think we're advancing, but anyway. This huge dome is there, and then you go down and the deities are there, and they have Giriraj Lila just over the altar. And very beautiful place. You can see that used to be a very beautiful place. And you can see all the bats flying around and hanging on the roof of the dome, and if you're not careful, you'll get something on top of your head. And if you're very nice to the pujari, because he knows me, so somebody, we go right through the deity room. He takes us up on the altar, right through the deity room, and there's a little doorway. Of course, there's another way from outside that sometimes they take it, but as we go down, and there's a little Yogamaya deity down there. And on the other side used to be a deity of Vrindadevi that the Goswamis found at Brahmakund. Anyway, later, Jai Singh, he took Govindadev to Jaipur, and on the way they stayed in Kamyavan, and that Vrindadevi deity refused to take one step out of Braj, so she stayed there in Kamyavan. It's very beautiful. They have a Govindadev deity with Pratibhu deities of Govindadev there. Anyway, we come back out of this temple watching out for all the monkeys, and we go around the backside, and you see that place honoring the spot where Govindadev was found, and then behind that you go in this beautiful temple brand new temple of Govindadev, new Govindadev temple. Because the Goswamis, the present Goswamis feel that was desecrated by the Muslims, so they built their own brand new temple. And this is the temple that Prabhupada designed Krishna Balaram Mandir, because you come inside and there's this sunken courtyard, you go up the steps, and although there's only one altar, there's 3 archways, just like in Krishna Balaram Mandir, the 3 altars are there, and the sunken courtyard, and everything just like Krishna Balaram temple. This is where he got the design that he gave to Surabhi. And always there's so many old ladies there just singing to Govindadev. And it's so sweet there. And they're also very heavy about taking pictures. And they're not, I don't know, somehow I have friends in every temple, but I've never been able to make friends with these guys. They're very cold, and very cold to us. If they see the foreigners, they're very cold. No pictures allowed. Yeah. But they have beautiful deity of Govindadev there. So whenever we're doing the temple prakrama, after we take darshan of Govindadev, then we come down in that big courtyard and just have big jump up and down, spin around and swirl around kirtan in the courtyard. And of course, just as you come in, right, there's an office there, and they have big, huge painting of the original Govinda Dev, who's now in Jaipur. And I warn you now, don't you ever go to Jaipur and see Govinda Dev. Otherwise, you see my body here flapping in front of you somehow or another. I have never been able to take my heart back from Govinda Dev's lotus feet. You will end up the same way, so don't ever go there. He's a real heart stealer. So anyway, now we just take a big kirtan party and go back down through Anaj Mandi and then down the Raman Reti Road down to Krishna Balaram. Now of course it's Bhaktivedanta Swami Barg. We go down to Krishna Balaram Mandir with the big kirtan. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. So you want to say something?
Hare Krishna. So, thank you for coming. Past few days, actually, we heard that Deena Bandhu Prabhu has been announcing for Srila Prabhupada's birthplace. So, today I stepped up. I'm from Calcutta. And my house is not very far from Srila Prabhupada's birthplace. The place where Srila Prabhupada was born, I don't know how many of you have been there. Anyone? Anyone has ever seen? Okay, a few of them are there. So, that place is a slum area. And on Srila Prabhupada's 125th anniversary, birth anniversary, we got a small land of 3,600 square feet, and we were able to offer him. So Srila Prabhupada has a nephew, he's also his disciple. He came up with a letter where Srila Prabhupada requested Bhakti Charu Maharaj to write in Bengali, and he expressed the desire that he wanted that place where he was born, and he wanted a memorial. So one devotee named Radharaman Prabhu is working in that project very hard because it's a slum area. So he has taken a target of acquiring 1 acre land surrounding that jackfruit tree and build a memorial. Currently we are in phase 2. Apart from 3,600 square feet, he is now fighting to get 5,000. So we have to acquire the land, we have to pay off the people staying in the slum, we have to register the land. And Sydney has stepped up, really grateful, and they have collected $107,000 Australian dollars, but we are still 80 lakh rupees short, which comes to 150,000 Australian dollars. So this is a very great service, like we owe everything to Srila Prabhupada. And because of him we are here, and there is still an opportunity for us to do. The first generation devotees did everything. Only few of us, were able to take part. And if you are interested, please come forward, because Radharaman Prabhu is under a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of, because the place is a very posh area in Tollygunge, if anyone has ever been to Calcutta. And the builders are around, and those slum areas don't like us. They want to give it to the builders. So we have to pay them extra money and have to take the land. So please step forward. This is a critical situation. 150,000 Australian dollar, if we all combine, it's not a big amount, all of us together. So please, humble request, if somebody is willing to donate, please contact Krishna Chandra Prabhu. He has pay ID, and you can also pledge if you want to donate in next couple weeks. That's also possible, but please step forward. So if you think that somebody else will do it, it may not happen. So this is something that we'll be doing for Srila Prabhupada. Next time if you go to Calcutta, you can say, okay, this is the place of Srila Prabhupada's birthplace, which is not a slum area, but we are able to offer him a befitting memorial. Everywhere we go, we see the Founder-Acharya has a wonderful place, but except our Srila Prabhupada. So please, humble request. Also, Deena Bandhu Prabhu has 2 books, Vraja Lila Part 1 and Part 2. These finally arrived. So these are the transcriptions of Srila Deena Bandhu Prabhu's lectures. These are very live commentary, like the way he is speaking, you will see in the book. This has wonderful parikrama of Vrindavan, more than what we are hearing, that is Vrindavan town, but other parts of Vrindavan is covered here. So part 1 is $15, part 2 is $20, combined 30. So whatever is coming from these books, we are also giving to the birthplace mission. So please step forward. We don't have too many copies today. Another box is about to arrive. Maybe we will sit outside. Prabhuji will sit outside, and Prabhu is here to sign the books for you. So if somebody is interested, please step forward. Thank you very much. Short kirtan. So only 5 minutes. So the darshan will open now. So do you have a short kirtan or?
Well, anyway, I guess we have 5 minutes left.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, O Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Radha Vallabha Radha Vallabha Sri Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nita Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nita Gaura Hari Bol Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavade Pachata Deshatarini Tarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.